In this video, we're going to be talking about the HMD Fusion, which is an interesting, I would say, entry-level phone from HMD. By the way, I'm Lee. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. So let's get into this. This is a $499 phone, which, again, I think the price is important to keep in mind as we go through the specs, because this isn't a high-end phone. Let's just get that out of the way. But I think there's a lot of things about this phone that are good value and might be interesting. The most important thing, and the thing that sort of really stands out about this phone, is I think what HMD calls the repairability, or being able to replace parts. So if you have a look at the back, first of all, I really like the look of the phone. I really love the back and how sort of like industrial it looks. But as you look at the back, you'll notice that there's a lot of screws on the back here. And even there's these little connection points. And what that is for is that means that you are able to actually replace parts on here. So if your battery is not living as long as you'd like, if you want to change, all sorts of components, and I'll put a little bit of a list on here now, that you can see a list of some of the components that are available. HMD has partnered with iFixit, so you're able to go to iFixit's website and order replacement parts for the HMD. So that's sort of like the flagship sort of feature of this phone. In terms of what comes in the box, you get the phone, obviously, you get a USB-C cable, you get a little thing to get the SIM card in and out, and you also get this case. Now, I really like the look of the phone outside of the case. I really love like the industrialness of it, but I would be a bit concerned about these connectors on the back here, getting scuffed up or what have you. So I do see the logic in putting the phone in the case and keeping it in the case for your sort of everyday use. And I do appreciate the fact that it does come with a case. Now, these connectors and the case are actually something worth mentioning as well, is because something else that HMD is not providing but selling is you can buy cases that add features and functionality to the phone. So for example, one of the cases that you can get has a little bit of a ring light that goes outside the cameras here. You can flip it up so you can use it on the back cameras, or you can use it on the front cameras as well. That's available now. Another case that they say is coming up before the end of 2024, and I'm filming this on the 3rd of December 2024, so sometime in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine, I would hope, is like a rugged case. So this phone is not waterproof out of the box and all that kind of stuff, but you can buy this rugged case for it, which will give you serious water protection, dust, all that sort of stuff. Also gives you an emergency call-out button and gives you a second USB port for plugging in accessories or whatnot. It does come with a single USB port. It has a single speaker on the bottom here. It does also have a headphone jack, so that's nice. If you've got headphones that you want to use that aren't wireless, this does allow you to use non-wireless headphones. It's got a fingerprint scanner on the sleep-wake button. It's got your volume buttons, and it's also got a scan for your face, so you can unlock it with your face, or you can unlock it with your fingerprint here on the side. I found the fingerprint, as you can see, so I'll just put it to sleep and wake it up. Wakes up pretty quick, all that sort of stuff. In terms of what the operating system is, it's got Android 14, fairly stock standard, not a huge amount of non-Android stuff. There is an HMD app, and this will allow you to customize a few things, but it will also give you some nice tutorials into the phone and how to use the phone and what you can do with the phone and all that sort of stuff. So I do like that they have, let's just shop for things, but you've got device health, which is kind of cool, and let's, allow while using app. So you can see the memory usage, you can see the free internal storage. Nice thing about this, so I think this comes with 256 gigs of internal storage. I'll just put that down here. It does come with 256 gigs of storage, but you can actually, on the SIM card, you can put an SD card next to the SIM card, so you can expand the storage on this, I believe, up to 1 terabyte. So that's really nice. And then, so yeah, you can see you've got the free external, you've got the temperature, you've got battery health. So some nice things about this, and you can also discover more about this. So it gives you sort of helpful hints and things like that, and tips and tricks and things you can do with the device. So that's nice. It does also have eSIM support, which I appreciate. So you are able to use an eSIM, or you can use a physical SIM, which is nice. You've got a really nice big battery, and the battery life on this is really, really good. I mean, I've gotten through sort of 2, maybe almost 3 full days of using this phone without having to charge the battery. So the battery in here is really, really good. Unfortunately, I think one of the reasons why the battery is really, really good is the specs are so. Now, having said that, this is a $499 phone. In fact, at the moment, I think it's on sale for $449. But let's say it's normally a $449 phone. So you get what you pay for, sort of thing. Now, unfortunately, it's only got 2 years of assured upgrade, so you'll get 15 and 16, 3 years of security support and security updates. That's something I don't quite understand about this, and I mean, I'll get into the philosophy of that later. So let's get into that later. A little bit more about the screen. It is an IPS screen, and it's only HD plus, so not full HD, which is a little disappointing. It does have a 90 hertz refresh rate. Now, for most people, that's probably fine. You're not really going to notice. But if you have a look, if I'm scrolling really quickly through things, which I mean, I suppose you don't have to scroll through things really quickly all the time, I did notice that it's a little bit. It can be a little bit janky and laggy when you're scrolling through with that 90 hertz. For most people, I think it's not going to make a huge difference, and I am a bit of a snob when it comes to tech, so I notice, but I think for most people, you'll be fine. In terms of gaming, it's not going to be an amazing platform just because the specs aren't, top of the line sort of thing, but if you're just sort of playing casual games, I think you're going to be absolutely fine, and it's going to do okay. In terms of video playback, the screen is plenty sharp. The resolution's okay for watching playback. It would be nice if it was a slightly higher resolution, but I think it works okay. In terms of brightness, the screen does get pretty bright. I think you would struggle a little bit in like direct sunlight, obviously, but again, I know I keep going back to the thing. It's a $500 phone. For a $500 phone, I think the playback for video is perfectly acceptable. In terms of the specs of the camera, you have a 108 megapixel camera on the back. This has got a zoom function as well, so it's nice that it's got, sort of like the standard one, and then it's also got the zoom. So I appreciate it's got the two sort of lenses. And then you have a 50 megapixel on the front. 50 megapixel is quite decent. In terms of the photos that you can capture with the camera, I'm perfectly happy with the kind of photos. You can see I'm just sort of flicking through a couple of photos that I took while I was on a little trip to Sydney. Videos, again, the videos are only 1080, so the quality is not amazing, but you can see here on the screen, it works perfectly fine. Again, I think for what it is, I think the camera's great. If I zoom in on this photo, you can see quite decent details in there in a photo, and then just pull out. So the quality of the photos, I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of the photos. One little hiccup that I noticed while I was actually putting this video together and editing the video, when I sent those photos to my Mac to edit them into this video, normally I just have them playing big on the screen, the videos came across just fine, but the photos just came out as black, like they didn't come across. I tried renaming them to JPEG. I did a bit of Googling to see if there was an issue with these. I don't know. They're HEF files. I mean, they should work just fine. And if I look at them in the Google Photos app on my iPhone, I can view the videos and the photos just fine. This is in the Google's Photos app on my iPhone. But if I try and view the photos in the Photos app on my iPhone, they just come out like nothing. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. If I text them, again, they work just fine, but yeah, there might just be an issue there with Macs. I don't have a PC to test them, so I presume they work fine on PCs, and it's just an Apple communication thing. And it's probably just an update that either the phone needs to do or the Mac needs to do, that they need to see it. But I just thought it's worth mentioning just because it was a weird little oddity. Again, getting back to the photos, as I was saying, I think the camera on here actually really good for what it is. Something I find a little bit curious about this phone is the fact that it only comes with 2 years of Android updates. So it's on Android 14, which is mostly stock, and you get a couple of little, like LinkedIn and Bookings.com and stuff, but you can uninstall most of those. But so it comes with 14, and you'll get 15, you'll get 16, but after that, no. And I'm not an Android user, so please forgive me if I don't know. In fact, let me know down in the comments. Does HMD have to pay like a licensing fee to Google in order to get more years of updates, or is it just that they don't think the hardware is going to be able to support it? So let me know down in the comments, because I think it feels like part of the, the people that this is being targeted at is people who do not update their phone that regularly, because the fact that you're able to replace the battery, you can replace the screen, you can replace the power board, suggests that they're saying, hey, you can hang on to this for quite a long time. And if something goes wrong, instead of throwing the whole thing away, you can replace the bit that's gone wrong and keep using it for years and years and years. So it's odd to me that they haven't sort of done the same thing with the software and the OS, if that makes sense. So let me know in the comments if I'm misunderstanding this, but that just seems a bit of an oddity to me. Something to keep in mind in terms of the price, because like I've looked at some other phones and specs and comparing things like that, but being able to remove things, that adds a fair amount of cost. So like a lot of the phones these days, in fact, most phones these days, are pretty much everything's just glued in there, which makes it cheaper to manufacture and all that good stuff. But the challenge with that is it's then very difficult to either repair or replace anything in it. And that's why, phones, people can't do it themselves. You either have to take it to, that weird little shop in the mall, or you try and do it yourself and probably break it and lose a couple of screws. But the fact that this is designed to be adjusted, I think is a really nice feature of this. So yeah, I know I'm sort of going on and on about this, but it really is an interesting take, and I'm curious to see how it goes. So in terms of my thoughts on the HMD phone, I think it's really interesting. It's not for me, but that doesn't mean that it's not for everybody. I can see how if you are someone who isn't really that into phones, and for you a phone is just a utility and you don't really care too much about how, it's got to have the best speakers, it's got to have the best screen, the most amazing refresh rate, all that sort of stuff. If it doesn't need all those high-end features and you just want a phone that's, good for watching videos on, good for surfing the web, good for going onto social media, you take good photos, you take okay video, it's a fair price. I can see how you could be in the market for something like this. I could see also maybe if you're an Android household and one of your kids is getting to that age where you want them to have a cell phone, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on it, and also you want it to be quite rugged, so you could get this, and you could get that rugged case that's coming out, and that then gives you a nice, affordable, rugged smartphone for your child who's getting into the world of smartphones, which I don't even want to think about dealing with that when Archie gets to that age, because I'm sure it's fraught with challenges. But yeah, that is my look at the HMD Fusion. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was useful. If you have found it helpful or useful, please like and subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one. Safe and happy, whatever it is you're doing. So a big thing about this phone is that it I can see a speck of dust on the lens. That's going to bother me. Now, let's see how long my microphone was in my belly as opposed to on my chest, and how much I have to redo. So there you go. It came across on my iPhone just fine. That's so... Hang on, so watch. If I save that... So I've saved that to Photos. Now I go into Photos. Aha! So if I did want to... So what's going on? So if you copy the actual file, but if you send it as a... So if I send it as a text message, I can then save it in Photos and it works fine across, from this to the Mac, from that to iPhone. But if I just send the file itself, that's not working. I'm gonna have to work this out. Well, there goes the rest of my day.